Hi everyone, I'm Maddie with Temple of Geek, and I am here at WonderCon in Anaheim, California, talking to the creators of a new trading card game called Watchers. How are you guys today?
We're doing great, Maddie. Thank you for inviting us here.
Yeah, of course. Can you guys introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind creating this game?
Sure. Justin, why don't you take that first?
I'm Justin. I'm the co-creator. And as far as the inspiration goes, it originally started off as a novel that was written roughly 20 years ago. And I ended up getting hurt one day on my 9 to 5 and ended up not being able to work. And then I ended up jumping into following my passion and created the card game. And that's what started this whole thing for me. I mean, I grew up playing games and collecting Pokemon and Magic when I was a kid in the Bay Area in the 90s, going to Toys R Us and stuff, and then, doing all that stuff. So that's really what started it, and that's where it started for me and where we're at now. So.
Wow. Well, sometimes bad things happen, but something good came out of it.
Exactly. Everything happens for a reason in life.
Yeah.
That's what I was telling this guy as well. Same thing, exactly. And I'm proud of him for pursuing a dream like that, because it's not easy, particularly when you're hurt like this.
Right.
My name is Alexander Gray, and traditionally I'm a producer mostly of documentary films for DC Entertainment, other things that we produced over the years involving the DCU. But in terms of this game here itself, it's been a pretty extraordinary journey for me. He actually introduced the game to me at one point and said, hey, would you like to help co-create and develop this even further, and in particular with regard to the animated universe as well. So like we were saying in the panel, is that we would love to be able to see this ultimately become a movie, become a comic book. We have a lot of connections in those arenas, and we would like to be able to actually really realize that to its fullest extent. So you will see Watchers out there.
That's really cool. That's incredible. And that'll make it even more accessible for people too, if they can see it on screen as well as play.
For sure.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
incredible.
Yeah.
And we have a copy right here of the Watchers. Maybe we can bust this open in a little bit and take a look.
Be my guest.
Can you guys tell us and our audience as well a little bit about the lore behind the characters in this game?
Sure. As Justin was saying, is that this is actually originally based upon a novel that was written, and the idea was that the material was going to go out there in a novel format. But what happened is that there was interest in, hey, this gaming universe, particularly analog gaming universe, became extremely important again. We've seen this resurgence. We know that Magic the Gathering itself was sold ultimately for about $500 million, actually, when it was actually let go from Wizards of the Coast, which was an interesting moment in the juncture of our history. But in the last 2 years, that game itself has brought in a revenue about $1 billion. So the analog gaming universe is back in full force, and probably better and bigger than it ever has been, realistically. And being able to trade and play that game again with people has been very inspiring. So that's a lot of the inspiration side, but the lore itself coming from that particular book, it's extremely layered. It's nuanced. There's a lot of material that we have. As we were saying in the panel, we have about like 600 or so pages to be able to wade through, to be able to create future content that not only will appear on the gaming side, but also on the animation side, the comic book side, and of course, as they say, the world is our oyster, right? Dream big.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we will.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add,
Oh, no.
like lore-wise? Yeah.
Alex touched on everything lore-wise, and
Yeah. One more quick thing about it, too, is that we do love the history of Greek, Roman mythology, and, of course, Judeo-Christian mythology. We have a lot of that embedded into the work itself as well. So this is not just a original universe. It's also very much heavily inspired by these pre-existing elements that are in our public domain that really made us, and the reason why we're here right now, and to be able to look at lore in those particular capacities. So imagine all of that coming through, filtered into this world like this, and this game being created. So it's all there. Yeah.
That's amazing. So now you said it's based off of a book that you wrote. Can you give us a little insight about what that book was about in case people haven't necessarily heard of it yet?
Sure. You want me to
Yeah.
chat real briefly about it? So one of our partners, actually, his name is Rob. Rob was the creator of that particular book, and he was originally designing it, again, with a lot of that layered updates regarding Greek, Roman mythology, even Eastern Asian mythology as well, Judeo-Christian mythology, as I was saying, but taking a lot of the elements that are also lesser known. So we were looking at some of those capacities and saying, hey, you know what? The book is a manuscript is really where it's at right now. It hasn't been published yet. Still needs to go through that editing process. You can't release a 600-page tome to the universe and drop that on the table. No one's going to read it. They don't want War and Peace these days. So we'll incrementally release that as the time goes on. But in order to generate the audience's interest and desire to be a part of this, is that we felt that the game was the best entree into that. That was our good entry point. So
Yeah.
you can collect it, you can play it, and you can trade it as well.
Yeah, that's really amazing. Anything else to add?
As far as lore, nope. I mean, Alex touched on
Yeah.
everything, and yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. So now, as a writer myself, I know that it can be hard to keep your thoughts organized or keep the characters organized. I have 1,000 Google Docs of, what the lore is and the inspiration behind characters and stuff. How do you guys keep yourself organized to keep the story kind of going as far as this goes?
Sure. For it.
I mean, Alex.
One of the well,
As far as the storytelling goes, Alex
I'll
is
tell
the
you this
great
is that
storyteller.
Oh, I appreciate that, brother. But I mean, one of the things. I mean, story is one of those things. I agree with you, Maddie. It is very complicated when you're looking at story. I use those 3x5 note cards, and I'll write down. I do actually use that old technique. That comes from the screenwriting side, which was a little bit of my training actually when I was in college, in film school. But I do put those up on the wall. I do look at them like that because I want to know. Okay, are these characters appearing here or here or here? Do we have enough of those particular elements also plot-wise? How does the plot look like? Also, do we have those great moments where there's a incident that may happen or something that causes action to transpire? So I do look at it in those capacities. And I know that we do have some conversations in regard to the future of our game, to the future of actually what are we doing with the new booster boxes? What areas of the universe are we going to cover with that? We have to look at it like that in the grand scheme. So we do. We're actually going to be covering a lot of that material, not only again on the animation side and the comic book side, but back in the game as well, because we want people to feel that level of connectedness on a day and date sort of level as well.
Right. Did you guys ever have to stop and kind of play the game while you were creating it, to kind of make sure it worked?
That's a question of this guy. Yes.
Yes,
This is your guy.
I mean, as far as mechanics goes, I mean, it was everybody has an image, or we had an idea of how it was supposed to work, and then how it didn't work, and then how we had to make it really work. You know what I'm saying? So just trying to encompass everything and try to figure it out was a lot harder and more in depth than I originally thought.
Yeah.
I want to add just to that because one of the things I found so fascinating about what you had done is that these guys actually had originally, because art is expensive to make, right? And you don't want to just keep on making art if it's going to work or not work. You don't know. You got to play test this stuff, right? So these guys were actually drawing on playing cards, just like a deck of just common playing cards, and drawing on them and saying, this is what this card represents, that card represents. So what was cool is that they're using screenwriting techniques, like we were just talking about, and they're applying it towards the gaming side.
Right.
That enticed me. So when they came to me and said, hey, we'd like for you to be involved with this in some capacity, and they showed me stuff like that, that's when I realized, hey, you know what? These guys understand good storytelling, good storytelling mechanics in that capacity.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, and when we were creating the game, we bought blackjack cards, and then we as far as inspiration, where we were at in the early stages, we just printed it out, and then we cut them out, and then we taped them on the cards to make our prototypes.
Okay.
And then one said card art, which is a brand. I'm like, oh, what's card art? Because I thought it was a character name or something weird, and they're like, no, it's just the brand card art. I'm like, oh. But every time we had revisions, you have to rip them off, print new ones, retype the instructions on the card, and then tape them back on. It was such a process, especially with, multiple decks at 55 cards each. I mean, that's a lot of printing and taping, and the changes were nonstop.
Right.
I mean, it was a full-time job, just printing and taping.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's such a fun I think it's so fun too. Like, it sounds like a lot of work and kind of stressful, but
Yeah.
to like be able to see your game kind of starting to take on its life, I'm sure was an incredible feeling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then directing art, as far as like inspiration goes, was the first time I've ever done anything like that, and it was not easy working with like illustrators and stuff. Artists. They're just you have to really finesse. You can't push too hard. It's like walking on eggshells, and then like their creativity versus kind of like what I wanted and like my idea. Like it's hard like not to step on toes and make them upset. Because I would get ignored. They would ghost me.
Oh, come on. Artists are easy to work with.
Well, that was my first
are you
experience
talking about?
dealing with that, and it was
Yeah.
not easy. And that
Yeah.
was probably one of the hardest aspects of it, is just trying to get through that. And I'm like, we got like 63 more cards to do.
Right.
We're like number 3, and
Yeah.
we're like, yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot of work in every capacity. I mean, when you look at these things, and when you actually finally release it, like you said here in this edition, that's one iteration. Because the reality is that being human, we find things with this and issues, but it's all part of that process of playtesting from alpha to beta to your limited edition to your unlimited editions, kind of the route that what Magic the Gathering used
Yeah.
back in the early 90s. It's all relevant, and it's okay. You can maybe make some mistakes, but then fix those mistakes. See if the cards are too powerful. See if they're maybe too weak, and then how do you work through that?
Right.
And that's exciting.
Yeah.
That's the cool part about
Yeah.
that too. So we
Yeah.
enjoyed that.
Yeah, that is really cool. I'm going to open this up a little bit. I'm going to see if I can do it
Cool.
without totally destroying the box.
That's all right.
Oh, that was easy. That was great. Yay! It's like I know what I'm doing.
That's okay. The props department has a few more, right?
Yeah, these are really cool. And so, like, at what point did you bring in the artists? I know you said it was kind of a process to work with them, but were they pretty early on in the production?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's actually a common question, and it was a common question, but early on, I would say.
Okay.
Just because the amount of time it takes to like get one illustration, and
Right.
honestly, so just one card was probably like 2 weeks on turnaround for each card. Overall, like 55 card deck is in the starter. That's almost like a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It took a long
I
time.
mean, there's
'Cause
so many notes, right? On
Well,
every
revisions
single-
too. It's like,
revisions,
well,
yeah.
tweak
Yeah.
this, tweak that, hand placement.
That's my
How do you
favorite
want this?
character.
Or that's not really what we want.
Right.
So it's like the going back and forth, and then also not stepping on toes. They get frustrated, and then they, ignore you.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, sorry. I'm
No.
sorry.
Yeah, I totally understand. And it's great because I see so many different inspirations from different like fandoms. So like the first thing I thought of was Halo when I saw this was the Halo franchise.
Sure.
And I see a lot of I see Dungeons and Dragons in here and World of Warcraft, and I think that that's really cool that like there's something for everyone
Yeah,
on these art
we
cards.
love that. I
These-
mean, we're all like what a filter of all the great pop culture and art that we've seen over the years, right?
Yeah.
So it's really exciting.
Yeah, these are stunning.
Yeah.
And it's also a dice game.
It is.
Yes.
These are really beautiful dice. How do players incorporate the dice into the game?
So we use dice roll for chance.
Okay.
So, for example, like on the card, you have your thumb is on the top left, and then on the top right is your weapon punch number. So it's your weapon punch number plus your D12 roll is your attack number.
Oh, okay.
So say, it's like 25 or whatever. And then I'll roll the same way my weapon punch number versus my dice roll to counter yours.
Oh, okay.
And then whatever the difference is the loss that you take.
Oh, okay.
And I just love dice. There's no so there's no stacking, no building our decks, more chance.
Right.
And then that's why we incorporate in the dice.
Oh.
And there's a series of planet cards in there as well. So what you do is you set up your planet cards, and then you're fighting each other along a series of those particular planets. And each planet has its own form of floral, fauna, bestiary, everything that's on these particular worlds are all represented, including, of course, the characters. And the characters can actually travel from one planet to the next in order to be able to improve the militia that's there on that particular planet, in order to be able to actually best your opponent in that capacity. Because you're either going to be fighting with the alien faction or you're fighting against the humans. So depending upon which side you choose.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's really cool.
Pretty exciting stuff. And then we're going
Yeah.
to keep adding more and more into it. Of course, as traditional card games like this go, but really it's about being able to create something, as we talked about on the panel, as well as where the fans are deeply excited about it. That's important that we get that feedback as well, that, hey, what do you see? Because these planets can also be, as we were talking about the panel, is that they could be actually cast forward in the future, they could be cast back into the past. We've learned these valuable lessons from, for example, through the DC universe as well, and our great characters there, the triumvirate. Yes.
Yeah, that's really cool. This is a really, really impressive game. I'm really excited about it. It's really cool. As someone who's fairly new to trading card games, you know, they can be a little overwhelming at first because there's a lot of rules, there's a lot of different cards, and how do I build a deck? And I know that, like with Watcher, you have the dice, and you guys have a website as well.
We do.
And so, do you have any advice for people who might be a little apprehensive to start playing a new trading card game?
Well, me being the person on the film side of this business, I always feel like the fruit of the labor should speak for itself. And currently, our fruit of our labor is not only the game, but the visual representation, which we have a beautiful sizzle reel that was put together by an editor and producer who works with us typically on the DCU side, Damon Clausen. He exquisitely put together all of this material for us, rotoscoped out every single card that we had selected that was to be used in the trailer, added in sound design, sound effects, and music to it. And I had a very good friend of mine who is an actor. His name is Haskell Anderson. He voiced over this particular piece. He's, of course, somebody that we would recognize from Bloodsport. He worked alongside Jean-Claude Van Damme. Really cool dude. He lent his voice to this project. I believe if you see the trailer, you'll understand that this is exciting. It's visceral, it's kinetic, has a ton of energy into it. And you know what? It's exciting to be able to collect these cards and to be able to take on your opponent one-to-one like that, face-to-face. Imagine that. Not over the internet, right, per se.
Yeah.
So, but you never know. We may actually get involved with the mobile side of it ultimately.
Okay,
so
cool.
We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, and then as far as like the card game side, it's cheap to get into. It's easy to learn, and then it's just so different. The mechanics, the way it plays is just so different than everything else. And some people will like that there's no building and stacking. Some will, some won't. But for us, it's just chance and luck of the draw, and then that's that dice roll. You know?
Oh, yeah.
And then also it makes it a little more fair too, because when you can build a deck, you know, if you have a lot more money than someone else, it starts to get kind of difficult.
Yeah.
To, you know.
Yeah, totally.
So
totally.
that's the, you know.
But you should also mention is that we also have this very unique card, actually, that we
Yes.
are including here, that we have a patent that is pending currently right now. And that's actually very unique to the trading card universe. Also, you may want to talk about that, because that's very enticing to get new people involved with this.
So the character creation card he was referring to, so it's a chase card. It's only in booster packs. And what it is and what it allows you to do, if you get this card, you chase it, you go to our website and you redeem it. And when you redeem it, it allows you to work with our illustrators and design a card of your choice and your vision and the lore behind it for gameplay. So if you get it, we'll send you 10 of them, I think it is. So we'll print it out. 10 of them get sent to you, and then you can use them in your gameplay. And then if it follows in our vision for the future, for expansion, we'll put it actually in production. But it becomes a chase card. It's like the fans chasing the fans. You know, it's such a fan-based game, and then giving back because everybody has a better idea. Or, oh, it'd be cool if there's this character or that character. You know, everybody has that thought, no matter what game you play. Well, here you have the chance. So your vision can become a reality.
Yeah.
And it creates really equity in the game, too. Because we all like to be able to buy something that we know that can hold its value instead of just like buying, because pop culture is obviously at such a massive level right now, and there's so many competing interests that want to tap into our wallet and to be able to get that money out, right? But the reality is that we're taking that into consideration. We want your cards to be valuable in the future, and that's the full intent with something like this as well. Is that part of it is that, hey, if you receive 10 of those cards, you've sort of cornered that market. You can demand your price at that point in order to be able to put some money in your pockets. You could buy more card games, hopefully Watchers, right? So that's the whole idea with it as well. So we're taking that very much into consideration. So you're not just buying and then seeing that go into the void somewhere.
Yeah, that's really incredible.
Yeah, the plan was just to make the most interactive and engaging game out there. And by that one card, I feel like just even that one aspect can just, fulfill that for someone. many other reasons why, but that aspect is really cool.
Right. Yeah. Very cool. So now, where can fans find Watchers?
They can buy direct on watcherstcg.com.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time to talk to me, and I am really excited about this. This is a really incredible game.
Thank you, Maddie, for having us. We appreciate it as
Yeah,
well.
of
Thank
course.
you. This is
Yeah.
great. Yeah.